guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you have been here before, thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. My name is Nicole and I am a Scrum Master. And today's topic, we're going to talk about responsibilities of a Scrum Master during the backlog refinement. Guys, before we actually get into this video, I would like to first of all thank each and every one of you that have subscribed to my channel. However, if you haven't subscribed to my channel just yet and you found my video very helpful to you, please do go ahead and click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to also click on the notification bell. So once I post my new video, you don't want to miss out, right? So just make sure that you click on the subscribe button and the notification bell. And also, obviously, if you like this video, please leave your comment below. Thank you again so much for continuously watching my channel. I really do appreciate all your support. So on today's video, we're going to talk about some responsibilities of a Scrum Master during the backlog refinement. If you haven't yet watched the video about backlog refinement and how to facilitate a backlog refinement meeting, I highly recommend you to watch that video before you watch this so you really understand what I'm saying in this video. Okay, so again, a backlog refinement is an ongoing process. Okay, it's a meeting that's going to keep happening as long as you guys keep having work in your backlog. As long as you keep adding work in your backlog, you guys are going to continue to have your backlog refinement just so your team can better prepare on the work that's coming up next in your upcoming sprint. Okay, so again, the whole purpose of having your backlog refinement is just to look deeper in the backlog, is to look in the backlog and see what your team can possibly focus on in the upcoming spring, in the next sprint. And so it's really good to have this meeting because it kind of like help your sprint planning meeting to go very smooth. So look at the backlog refinement as a pre-planning. It's kind of like a pre-sprint planning meeting, okay? Because a good backlog refinement is going to really lead you guys to a very good sprint planning meeting. So it's highly recommend that you guys have your backlog refinement meeting. Decide with your team how often you want to have your backlog refinement. Once a week, twice a week, every other week, or it's up to you guys, right? So talk to your team and see what works best, and then you guys come up with a timeline. Again, there are a few things that Scrum Masters are responsible for, or you should be doing during the backlog refinement to better support your team. The first thing that you want to do as a Scrum Master when you join the backlog refinement, first of all, the backlog refinement meeting can be facilitated by the Scrum Master as well, not just the product owner. Product owner, yes, should be facilitating this meeting. It makes sense because they own the backlog, right? They understand the priority of the work. They know exactly what the team should focus on next. Scrum Masters can also support the team in facilitating this meeting with the support of the product owner or the tech lead or someone that really understands the work really well, somebody that really understands the backlog and understand the priority of the work. You should facilitate this meeting with the support of that person. So let's say you're in the meeting, you're in the backlog refinement meeting. There are certain things that you, the Scrum Master, should be looking for, and to ensure that things are going really well with your team during this session. Once you guys join the meeting, you want to make sure that once your product owner identify the stories that you guys are going to be refining for that session, once the product owner clicks on the stories, you want to make sure that those story has clear descriptions. All of your user stories that are going to be coming up in your next sprint, all of the stories that you guys are refining should have a description to it. Make sure that you guys have a description on the story, that the team really understand the description. That's the whole purpose of the backlog refinement. Everyone on the team should understand the description of the story. Not only the person that's going to work on it, the whole team should understand the description of the user story because they should be able to estimate the story. Once they understand the description of the story, they'll be able to come up with the estimation, the level of effort on the user story. Okay, so that's the very first thing. If you notice that the story doesn't have a description, you should definitely, right, as you guys are on the call, ask your product owner to add a description in the story, okay? Or you can even add the description, but just make sure you ask the product owner to tell you what the description is on the user story so you can add it, okay? It's going to help your team as once this story comes up in your sprint planning meeting, once they accept the story, they're going to at least understand the work that they're going to be doing. You want to also make sure that all of the user story has acceptance criteria as well. That's understood by the entire team. Okay. The user story should have acceptance criteria that the developer understands as well as the QA. So make sure that acceptance criteria are clearly defined in the user story. Again, if it doesn't have one, ask the product owner as well in the meeting to add the acceptance criteria. I mean, that's your responsibility, right? To be checking and making sure that the story description is there and the acceptance criteria is there. Another thing that you should be making sure the story have as well is you want to make sure that the stories are estimated. Okay, the team should be able to understand the description, understand the acceptance criteria, to be able to come up with the estimation. Estimation, again, is the level of effort on how long it would take your developer and your tester to accomplish their task, how long it would take them to complete their work. So all of the user stories that are going to be, you guys are going to be refining that day, you guys should make sure that the story are being estimated before you guys are pulling that story into your sprint. Just make sure that the estimations are there. And with the estimation, it's going to help you to understand if this story is too large. Okay. Once the team member estimate the story, you're going to be able to know, will they be able to accomplish this work in the sprint? If you guys are doing a 2-week sprint, once they estimate the story, you're going to be able to know if the team will be able to deliver this work in that 2-week sprint timeline. So if the stories are too large, you want to make sure that your team member break down that user story. That's another thing that you're responsible for in the refinement meeting, to make sure that the team estimate the story, and if the story is too large, you want to make sure that they are breaking down the user story that to be small enough so they can be able to deliver that work in that 2-week sprint. Another thing that you want to look for, dependencies. You want to check on the story, or just ask the team, or if this story is depending on another story. Is this story depending on any other user story? If so, they need to identify which story is that story depending on, because if that user story get pulled into your next sprint and they did not identify the dependency on that user story, that might be a risk. Your team might not be able to deliver that work on time because maybe that work is being depending on another user story. So we want to track it if it's depending on another story. What stories is depending on? So we want to identify that and document that on the user story as well. So when you guys are in your planning meeting and your team is accepting this user story during the planning, if it's depending on another team or even within your team, we want to make sure the story that is depending on also has been assigned to someone that's going to work on. So that way, the person that's going to accept the story doesn't get blocked. Okay. Those are some things that you want to look for. And then another thing that obviously you want to make sure that the story meets definition of ready. All of the story needs to meet your definition of ready. Okay. And again, definition of ready is really unique to your team, right? It's something that your team has to define. Your team has to come together and define your definition of ready. So in your backlog refinement meeting, as they're going through the stories, you're just checking, yes, this story meet definition of ready, this is there, description is there, acceptance criteria is there, the story is small enough. If it's big, they're broken the story down into different stories, dependency was identified. If that was your definition of ready, then it means the story has pretty much the story meet definition of ready. So once you guys get into your planning, if those stories do come up in your spring planning meeting, pretty much high chances are your team are going to accept that story and they should be able to commit and accomplish that work on time. Okay. Yes, maybe they might find some 1 or 2 kind of issue or so, but for the most part, if the story meets definition already, the team should be able to deliver the work on time. Again, so those are the things that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. So if you're a Scrum Master and you are in your backlog refinement meeting, those are the things that you want to be looking at and just making sure that they're being identified, they're being defined, they're being tracked, and it's going to really help support your team. So once they accept the work in the sprint planning meeting, they should be able to commit and accomplish their work on time. Again, thank you so much for your time. And again, if you do have any specific topic you would like me to do a video on, do not hesitate to leave a comment below. Thank you again so much, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you guys soon.